Tonight, a cold case with few clues and no leads. A young woman with many numbers, but no name. Those numbers identify her in the national databases by her DNA and her dental records. A person whose past is unknown, whose family hasn't been found, and whose death is a mystery. Was she sexually assaulted? Did she overdose on drugs? Was she murdered? Her death is being investigated as a homicide, but before that case can be solved, one question has to be answered. Who is she?
We want to thank each of you who have come today to pay your respects. For those who may be grieving for her, we ask that you will comfort them. Our gracious Heavenly Father, we come today to commit to your eternal care the body of Jane Doe.
It was cold, but there was no snow on the ground. There was a barbed wire fence.
Right down here?
Yep, right down in this area here. She was frozen in the creek. I mean, all you could see was two legs, a midsection, and that was it.
We chopped the ice basically several inches away from her body, like a chalk outline.
She was in an advanced state of decomposition, basically encased in ice.
The box bears her name, the only name they know.
I felt we were going to solve it.
But more than 3 years later, after loads of leads and dozens of dead ends, investigators admit
we're stuck.
What they know is overshadowed by what they don't know. And as you'll see, the facts fuel more questions than they answer. Her body was found in a small creek on an abandoned farm in southern Fond du Lac County. From the Mayville-Kewaskum exit off Highway 41, it's one of the first remote areas you'd encounter. It's also a mile and a half up the road from an adult video store, but she does not appear in the store surveillance tapes. This aerial photo Fox 6 obtained from the federal government shows what the farm looked like just weeks before her body was dumped. The creek where she was found crosses under the tree-lined driveway 550 feet from the road. Did the person who did it know the farm was abandoned, or was it just the first convenient spot?
We don't know. She didn't get there by herself. She didn't walk there by herself. It's not a suicide.
Forensic entomologist Neil Haskell analyzed insects found with the body.
We had a number of different groups of insects.
By correlating different species to weather data, he determined her body had been decomposing for 2 to 4 months.
Normally we don't get bodies with insects frozen in water.
She'd been dumped in July, August, or September of 2008. And as you'll see, that time frame was reinforced by something discovered at the scene. After she was extracted from the ice, her body was brought to the Fond du Lac County Medical Examiner's office.
She was quite decomposed when she came in.
Water and time had taken away many details.
There's a chemical change within the soft tissues called adipocere, which we had to deal with, and it replaces the soft tissue.
So any wounds, scars, tattoos, or piercings she may have had were gone. Whether she had any is unknown. But her remains revealed other clues. She was probably white or Hispanic, but Native American or Asian can't be ruled out. She could have been biracial. All investigators know is she was not African American. Based on her bones, it's believed she was 15 to 21 years old, a young woman born between 1987 and 1993. Her bones also show she was a bit pigeon-toed or knock-kneed, enough that it may have been noticeable when she walked. She appeared to be 4'10" to 5'4", around 110 to 135 pounds. In other words, she was not tall, she was not skinny, she was not fat.
I would say that she is a pretty average frame and a pretty average size.
And then there was her hair.
The hair was well preserved.
Her straight, shoulder-length, light brown hair.
There's some alternation in the shade of brown, so she may have had highlights.
Her skull and her autopsy photos were sent to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children in Virginia.
Amazing detail can be extracted just by looking at a skull.
Using a CT scan of her skull and tissue depth markers for her estimated age and ancestry,
So it works in pieces.
they were able to rebuild an estimate of what time and water had taken away.
And at the end, kind of merge all that together to come up with this image. The finished image is more, it was like the image up here.
Jane Doe finally had a face. However,
When you look at these images, you still have to apply some ambiguity.
here are images of other unknown people reconstructed from their skulls and a picture of the person it turned out to be. As you can see, certain facial features may be more accurate than the image as a whole. But in Jane Doe's case, one feature stands out. Joe Mullins noticed it when he studied her skull.
She had a overbite.
Not an extreme one, but enough that it may have been noticeable.
That could be something that it helps people, spark that recognition.
She also had sealants on 4 upper molars.
Sealants are not something that most people are going to do.
Her x-rays reveal she had no current cavities and 4 fillings on her lower molars.
She has good dental care.
Another clue she was cared for, her clothing. It was fairly new. Her black tube top had pink across the top and a pink band below the breast with a large pink bow in the back. It was sold at Family Dollar stores starting in the spring of 2008. Fox 6 also spoke with the exclusive importer of the bra and panty set she was wearing. Only one shipment was sent. It was sent to Family Dollar on July 1st, 2008. Within 2 weeks, it was for sale in the stores. So at some point between mid-July and when she died, she either bought, stole, or was given a bra panty set from Family Dollar. The jeans she was wearing were Angel's brand. They could have been bought at Kohl's. And her pants were rolled up like this. And she was found with no socks or shoes. Perhaps it was warm out when she died and she'd been wearing sandals. If she was, they were never found. But it is the size of her clothing that is the conundrum. The bra, a 36C, the top was a small, the panties a large, but the jeans were a size 3. Investigators have struggled to make sense of that disparity. Perhaps, unlike this mannequin, the clothes were not loose on her body, but tight.
It is a puzzle.
Equally puzzling, she had no jewelry, just an elastic ponytail band around her wrist. We wondered if, with decomposition, her jewelry had fallen off, if she was wearing any at all. We brought expert metal detector Paul Humphreys to the scene. Our search uncovered one item of interest, a St. Benedict medal about the size of a penny. But corrosion experts were unable to tell how long it had been in the water. It could have been hers, it could have been someone else's. Her dental chart and DNA have been entered into every relevant database. Her sketch made available to media across the country. Leads have come in.
This is Chantal Tobler. Karina Karras also came in.
Investigators tracked them on a spreadsheet.
How we got this one was through VICAP,
The FBI's Violent Criminal Apprehension Program.
a potential offender with ties to Wisconsin.
And a young woman who disappeared in July of 2008.
So there was a lot of excitement around here.
But when they ran the DNA, same story.
It was a negative. Case over. Done.
So who is this young woman?
She belongs to somebody.
What events led up to her death?
Somebody out there knows something.
When will the clue come?
As of yet, she still remains Jane Doe.